New testimony cuts to the heart of the Sabrina Limon murder trial.
The solidifying of a lot of our terrible plans that followed.
The man who pulled the trigger.
Saying how much simpler it would be if he were gone.
The prosecution's star witness takes the stand.
Did she ever send you photographs in that time frame where she was not clothed?
Yes.
Surprising, intimate details revealed about the homicide.
That was part of what solidified his actual eventual demise.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for 17 News at 5. I'm Tammy Melchak.
And I'm Jim Scott. We begin with day 4 of the Sabrina Limon trial. The witness testimony was more dramatic and shocking than ever today. Sabrina Limon's former lover taking the witness stand and testifying against the woman he called his first love, the woman he says he killed for. 17's Olivia LaVoice joining us live outside the courthouse in downtown Bakersfield now with the latest. Olivia?
Jim, a soft-spoken, seemingly timid Jonathan Hearn spoke to jurors about his all-consuming love for Sabrina Limon, the guilt he had when her husband found out about their affair, and the thought process behind what they thought was the perfect murder. For the first time in this trial, we heard someone speak favorably about the defendant, Sabrina Limon. Jonathan Hearn truly gushed about her character and praised her kindness towards others, showing glimpses of the love he once had for her, the love that drove him to kill.
It may have come up briefly as far as saying how much simpler it would be if he were gone, or something to those along those lines.
And when you said that progressed from humor towards what?
Towards an actually plot to kill her husband.
As soon as Jonathan Hearn walked in the courtroom, handcuffed but in a suit, every juror turned and suddenly was much more attentive. As Jonathan Hearn spoke about meeting Sabrina Limon in August of 2012, he was a 22-year-old firefighter. She was a 33-year-old wife and mother. Hearn said she didn't look like the type of person he'd normally go for, but he said their connection was magnetic.
Just to give a sense of her personality outside of this courtroom, I know this is probably a time when she's not very talkative, but she's a very, very friendly person, and a very encouraging, attentive. Almost all of her words are very kind towards everyone. She's very upbeat and just has a reserve of optimism. It was a primarily emotional affair, though we were hooking up from time to time. I just found her to be a very entrancing person.
As the relationship progressed, Hearn says he struggled with guilt, but despite the guilt, the relationship continued. The longer it went on, the more Hearn said Sabrina brought up negative things about her husband. He believes to rationalize the affair.
I would say the biggest thing as far as was as far as their marriage, she expressed that he perpetrated a very image-based lifestyle and a very, well, they had an open relationship where he was pretty exploitative, or at least she expressed to me that he was pretty exploitative and objectifying her, and pretty much the emotional entanglement or conflict with that was that here she was married to him, but yet he was willing to pretty much pass her off to any other guy and not really leave the doors of their marriage closed so much to the outside world.
Hearn says by the end of 2013, early 2014, the plot to kill Sabrina's husband began. Hearn says as they plotted the end of Robert Limon's life, they planned their lives together.
I don't remember how the conversation came up, but obviously we were discussing killing him, and I know we briefly discussed. She asked me how I thought would be best, and we discussed, I believe, car accident and fire, and quickly skipped over those and arrived at poisoning.
Now, as we know, Robert Lamone was ultimately shot to death. Now, Jonathan Hearn discussed with jurors today how Sabrina helped him plan the murder. He says when they thought that they would poison him, she provided him with her husband's favorite foods. She suggested banana pudding. He said that it was also her idea for the murder to take place in Tehachapi. But Jonathan Hearn wasn't the only key witness who testified today. Let's check in now with 17's Danny Freeman, who has more on the prosecution's evidence that was presented earlier in court. Danny?
Thank you, Olivia. At the start of the trial today, the prosecution promised to lay out just how much research Jonathan Hearn did before Robert Lamone's murder. And we've learned more details of the moment Hearn pulled the trigger.
Initially, they decided on poisoning as the way to kill Robert. Part of the steps, you heard the overt acts that were read to you. Jonathan purchased some arsenic trioxide, got a fake PayPal account, purchased it from an art supply company, had that shipped to his residence. He also researched how to kill with arsenic using his Google email.
So 4 days after prosecutor Eric Smith made that argument on Monday, Kern County Sheriff's Office Detective Tanner Miller testified on Jonathan Hearn's internet search history, suggesting an initial plot to kill Robert Lamone with poisoned pudding.
The web address that was visited was justapinch.com. Recipes, dessert pudding, easy banana pudding with Nella wafers. 1708 hours will be 5:08 p.m. and the search was for arsenic homicide. Search is a website that was visited, wiki.answers.com. It says, how soon after a person dies does a life insurance policy pay out?
Now, we know that after agreeing to his plea deal, Jonathan Hearn told detectives Sabrina told him that banana pudding with Nilla wafers was Robert Lamone's favorite dessert. Hearn continued to tell detectives he made the dessert mixed with arsenic, gave it to Sabrina, who put it in Robert Lamone's lunch. At the last minute, Hearn said the two scrapped the plan, as we heard in his testimony today. The pathologist who performed Robert Lamone's autopsy also testified that Lamone was shot twice, once in the chin and once in the upper chest. He testified both gunshots appeared to have been fired at very close range, the muzzle of the gun touching Lamone's skin when the trigger was pulled. Now, the defense was quick to point out earlier today that the search results were all from Jonathan Hearn and did not implicate Sabrina Lamone. But after Hearn took the stand today, all bets are off on how the jury will ultimately react. We'll be back in court tomorrow morning. Danny Freeman, 17 News.
And you can get up to date with the trial and the testimony of the past several days on our website, KernGoldenEmpire.com.
Other news now, a McFarland police officer is expected to be okay after he was stabbed in the face this afternoon. Just before 12:30, McFarland police officers responded to the 700 block of Melgar Avenue for a domestic abuse call. Police say 24-year-old Martin Hernandez was asked to step out of the home to talk with officers, and that's when Hernandez allegedly reached for his waistband, pulled a kitchen knife, and lunged at one officer, stabbing him in the face. Hernandez was later arrested and taken into custody following a brief standoff. He has been booked on various charges, including attempted murder of a peace officer, assault with a deadly weapon, and false imprisonment with violence. The officer suffered minor injuries and was taken to the hospital for further treatment.
Now to an emotional tribute to a loved one almost unheard of in today's world, handcrafting the casket that will be that loved one's final resting place. But it happened this week in Kern County. The hands of friends, coaches, mentors, and family joining together for 17-year-old Jonathan Sebastian Garcia. Garcia died on his way home from a South High football game at Arvin High School last Friday night, where he was cheering on his alma mater. According to California Highway Patrol, Garcia was crossing Comanche near Panama Lane when he was hit and killed by a car. Those close to Garcia say he was crossing the road to help a friend who was having car trouble. Garcia graduated from South High in May, where he was an active member in the school's ROTC program, the school choir, and a powerhouse on the football field. He then enrolled at Bakersfield College, making the Renegades football roster and continuing his passion for singing there. Friends say he was also passionate about mentoring other young men, always there for a hug or a smile when it was needed most. It was the way he lived his life, full of love and support, that impacted so many people. And it was that impact that inspired those closest to him to come together to build his casket 17's Tabitha Mills joining us now in studio, where there will be a ceremony in his honor tonight. Tabitha?
Jim, Garcia was many things: a football player, a singer, a jokester, a brother, a son, and a friend. But most of all, he was greatly loved. If you knew nothing else about Jonathan Sebastian Garcia but the grinding of this sandpaper or the boring of this drill, then you would know enough.
Everybody's here for one purpose, because they loved another person.
Not many people live a life that would inspire a sentiment such as this. But the young man known as Tank did.
This is what Tank was. Tank brought people alive. He brought the best out in people.
Every member of the South High varsity football team, along with former classmates, teachers, longtime friends, mentors, and family, joined together to hand build the casket Tank will be laid to rest in.
Be able to build the casket and help out, if even just cutting a little piece of wood or screwing a little screw, that it just means the world to me.
The 5 emotional hours slowly ticked by. With every measurement came healing. With every screw came closure.
I just feel safe, and I'm just, I was in a sense of grieving. I feel a great sense of comfort as of this moment.
When the incident happened with Tank, I just felt lost, and I needed a way to go, and being here tonight really helped me out a lot.
For these loved ones, the new foundees was sent from Tank.
I'm pretty sure he's happy looking down upon us, and I'm proud of ourselves, and he would be proud of us too.
Tonight, after the Frost South football game at South High, a candlelight vigil will be held in memory of Tank. The memorial event is set to take place at approximately 7:30. And while building Tank's casket, others made paracord bracelets like these to help raise money for funeral expenses. Friends say the bracelets will be available at tonight's event for Tank in exchange for a small donation. If you cannot make it to the event and would like to help, there is also a GoFundMe account. You can go to our website, KernGoldenEmpire.com, for more information on that. Tabitha Mills, 17 News.
Take a look at your forecast today. The coolest we have seen in temperatures since June 13th. We were at 83 degrees. We made up to 84 today. And currently we're sitting here at 83 in Bakersfield. Only 65 cool degrees into Frazier Park, 68 in Tehachapi, 72 over in Lake Isabella, 79 in Mojave. So, wow, what a difference a day makes. Temperatures today, 8 degrees cooler right now in Bakersfield. We're 9 degrees cooler in the mountains near Tehachapi, 4 degrees cooler in the desert. And as we take a look at regional temperatures, everyone seeing some refreshing air here. 82 in Fresno, 67 in San Francisco, 71 in Los Angeles, 74 in San Diego. So that area of low pressure that brought us that stray shower last night, continuing north of the area and into Nevada, and forecasting dry conditions as we head into tonight. And temperatures are going to cool down a little bit more tonight, dropping back down into the 60s. So 83 degrees at 7, at 11 p.m. 75, and then tomorrow morning 67, 80 degrees by noon. Into the mountain forecast, also watching then for a nice cool night tonight. So enjoy it, folks. Back down into the 50s. Breezy tomorrow and a cool start into the lower 50s. We're going to talk about how long this will last in Pinpoint Weather.
Alyssa, thanks. The coroner has yet to release the name of the woman killed in a crash on Highway 99 during the morning commute. It happened around 9 a.m. in the northbound lanes. The CHP says a 29-year-old woman drove onto the freeway from the Ming Avenue on-ramp at a high rate of speed, and cars were stopped. Officers say she swerved to miss the stopped vehicles, spun out, then was T-boned by a truck in a different lane. The woman died at the scene. No one else was injured. The CHP does not suspect drugs or alcohol were factors in the crash.
Education news now. Bakersfield College officials discussed a new tiered parking fees plan at today's Board of Trustees meeting. According to BC, under this new plan, all parking will remain at $40 per parking permit. However, the southwest lot near the baseball diamond will have 650 parking spots that will be either free, metered, or the permits will be just $10. college officials say they plan to redesignate their current 45-minute visitor parking into metered parking, and this parking is set to charge 50 cents every 30 minutes for a maximum of 4 hours. According to officials, they also want to include a shuttle program. BC is set to consider the request, this parking lot plan, as a pilot project starting in January. As Florida begins the long process of recovery, President Trump went to the Sunshine State today to see the damage left by Hurricane Irma for himself. More on his visit to Florida just ahead.
But before heading to Florida, the commander-in-chief gave mixed signals on whether he would cut an immigration deal with top Democrats. That story new at 5:30.
Oh, what a blessing today was. Temperatures unlike we've seen in months, Alyssa.
3 months to be exact. So yes, almost down to the day. Temperatures much, much cooler today. 3 months ago, we were like this, and today, hardly a cloud in the sky. We still have some clouds to the south of us, as well as just north of the Kern County line, but overall, a gorgeous day today. We've made all those showers go away, and they are up into the Nevada area, northern Nevada, central Nevada. Other than that, we are continuing to watch for fairly tranquil conditions. 83 degrees currently, 72 over in Lake Isabella. 68 in Tehachapi, lower 80s from Wasco over to Shafter and McFarland. 83 degrees in Bakersfield, humidity at 39%, the dew point's at 56, and winds are out of the northwest at 9. And we start out the day at 66. We made it up to 84. That's it. Our normal high on this day is 91, so we were below average. And if this gives you fall fever, well, 8 more days and fall officially begins September 22nd. Meanwhile, we're continuing to watch as some drier air is working on through the area, sending a lot of that moisture there east of us into Utah, over the Four Corners states, still dealing with a lot of shower activity from Idaho over into Montana and Wyoming as well. There's a surface front there that'll keep them a little bit wetter and cooler. But now, as for us, we're just going to be focusing on temperatures the next few days. And we'll be looking in the upper levels for a series of disturbances to try to drop on down. So tomorrow, continuing to be cool, we'll kind of moderate for the weekend. And then as we head into Monday, another dash of cool air. 70s even in this forecast as we head into midweek next week. Good air quality. Doesn't get much better than this at 47, in my opinion, because I like temperatures mild like this. 87 as we head into our Friday. And then looking at 89 on Saturday, 90 on Sunday, just a slight warm up. And then next week for the Kern County Fair on Wednesday, 78 degrees. Still looking very pleasant as we head into the mountains, 70 and then 77 on Saturday. Temperatures back in the 60s by Tuesday and Wednesday into the Kern River Valley, looking then at lower 80s to mid 80s and temperatures in the 70s next week. At this point, there's a slight chance of showers possibly Wednesday and Thursday. Just a system we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on. I have not added that to the valley forecast because it's only a 10% chance. But in the meantime, enjoying nicer temperatures.
Yes,
short
definitely.
And oh so sweet.
Oh, beautiful. I had no air conditioning on in my car. I had no windows down.
Yeah, it was nice this morning.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Well, she serves the Lord, but then she went out on a limb to help storm victims. We're back with the story of the nun who grabbed a chainsaw after Mother Nature hammered Florida last weekend with Hurricane Irma.
And along with the relief and the recovery effort in Florida after Irma, there's now a criminal investigation underway. We have details for you after the break. We're back now with news making headlines around the nation. President Trump in Florida this afternoon meeting with survivors in the wake of Hurricane Irma, his third visit to a storm-ravaged area in the last 2 weeks. That comes as survivors are fighting through overwhelming damage and now stifling heat across the state. Jay Gray has been in Florida since before Irma made landfall and joins us now from Isla Mirada in the Keys, one of the areas that saw the worst of the storm.
Florida, still wrecked 4 days after Irma's landfall.
Everything's down and gone. Everything's blocked. The telephone poles are down.
The remnants of so many lives scattered for miles.
Yeah, it's in pretty bad shape. Yeah, let's do that.
Today, President Trump seeing firsthand just how bad things are here.
They went through something that I guess the likes of which we can really say nobody's ever seen before. All you have to do is look at what happened in the Keys.
Billy Quinn lost his home in the Keys.
It just disintegrated, I say.
because there's nothing but a frame left.
Like so many here, Quinn plans to come back and says the president's trip to the strike zone is important.
He seems to have, everything together when it comes to these kind of things, and he really wants to help out.
Help is now pouring into the hardest hit areas where survivors are still struggling to find food, water, and fuel. Along with the relief and recovery effort, there is now a criminal investigation underway.
I think it is an emerging scandal of gargantuan proportions.
8 patients dead after what were apparently problems with the air conditioner at their nursing home.
Felt like 110, 115 degrees in there.
One of many questions in the tragedy, why residents weren't moved to this hospital, literally just across the street. Blazing heat after the storm, making things even more difficult, if that's possible here.
For millions, relief from the heat will only come when the power's restored. And in places like this, that's more than a week away. Jay Gray, NBC News, Isla Mirada, Florida.
And we are hearing now from the star of a viral video in the wake of Hurricane Irma. You may have seen this video taken by an off-duty police officer of a chainsaw-wielding nun. She was working to clear trees off a public street. Sister Margaret Ann says she saw a need and wanted to fulfill it.
It's about taking care of other people, and when we as a nation step out and do what we can to help others, that's what really makes us strong. And that's the way God created us, and that's what really brings us joy, is when we can help out somebody else.
The first tweet showing Sister Margaret Ann hard at work has been retweeted and shared now almost 4,000 times. Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's lending a hand.
Yeah. Investigators in Washington State say a school shooting there yesterday could have been much worse. New at 5:30, more details about the accused shooter's plan and what authorities say went wrong with it.
And up next, a local mobile clinic driving around town, making sure kids get vaccinated for school and for free. We have details in your 17 Health Watch.
We are back with your 17 Health Watch. First 5 Kern and Adventist Health is offering free vaccinations for local kids. The children's mobile immunization bus parked outside the Walmart on Fashion Plaza today. The vaccines are free for children under the age of 18 who don't have health insurance or are enrolled in Medi-Cal.
Yeah, it's very important because it helps to keep not only the children healthy, but it also provides protection for the community and protection against other illnesses that might affect other members of the community that may not be able to receive vaccinations.
There will be free vaccination clinics throughout the month. For more information and locations, visit our website, KernGoldenEmpire.com.
The 29th Honor Flight Kern County took off this morning. We'll tell you when you can welcome home our Vietnam veterans when they come back from D.C. Plus, a local animal shelter at full capacity, the adoption special you don't want to miss after the break.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at 5:30.
We begin here at 5:30 with some confusion today coming out of Washington after top Democrats said they'd reached an agreement with President Trump on DACA.
DACA protects undocumented immigrants who came to America as children. But President Trump said today there's been no deal. NBC's Blaine Alexander is at the White House to sort it all out.
Landing in Florida to survey destruction from Hurricane Irma, President Trump first doing some damage control of his own, reassuring conservatives he is not going soft on immigration.
We're not talking about amnesty. We're talking about taking care of people.
This after Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi proudly announced their dinner meeting with President Trump ended with a deal on DACA, the program protecting undocumented immigrants brought here as children.
We all agreed on a framework to pass DACA protections and additional border security measures excluding the wall.
But this morning on Twitter, President Trump insisted no deal.
And ultimately, we have to have the wall. If we don't have the wall, we're doing nothing.
But the conversation alone enough to cause an uproar among some Republicans. Congressman Steve King tweeting, the president has blown up his base and his credibility.
I'm going to defend the rule of law, and that's what the president promised to do.
House Speaker Paul Ryan saying the president assured him on DACA there was only a discussion, no agreement.
Oh, I think the president understands that he's going to have to work with the congressional majorities to get any kind of legislative solution.
A solution that won't even get a vote unless Republican leaders stand behind it.
And remember, when President Trump canceled DACA last week, he gave Congress 6 months to come up with something better. Well, today the president said he believes that they will reach a deal within that time frame. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, the White House.
One soldier has died and 7 others were injured this morning during a training exercise at Fort Bragg. Officials with the U.S. Army Special Operations Command say the incident happened during a demolition training exercise and involved students from the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and school. However, officials could not confirm the exact circumstances surrounding the incident. The injured soldiers were taken by helicopter and ambulance to local hospitals in unknown conditions. Officials say 32-year-old Staff Sergeant Alexander Delita of Dunstable, Massachusetts, died from his injuries. The cause of the incident remains under investigation. And this incident comes one day after a training exercise at Camp Pendleton that left 15 Marines injured. The Marines from the 1st Marine Division were injured during a battalion training operation on the Marine Corps base near San Diego when a seafaring tank caught fire. 5 are in critical condition, 5 in serious condition, and 2 in unknown condition. The others suffered minor injuries.
The 15-year-old student who killed a classmate and wounded 3 others at a Washington State high school could be charged with premeditated murder. A scheduled hearing today for Caleb Sharp, you see here in custody, was canceled. Authorities say Sharp was armed with 2 guns when he entered Freeman High School in Rockford yesterday. One of them was an AR-15 rifle, the other a handgun. They say the shooting may have been worse had the AR-15 rifle not jammed. Police believe bullying may have been a motive. We're naming Caleb Sharp because his name was released in public documents and because of the severity of the accusations, as Spokane County Sheriff wants Sharp's case moved out of juvenile court.
We now have a 15-year-old in juvenile. He'll be going in front of a judge, and it's our intention to try him as an adult for premeditated murder, because this young gentleman got sucked into a counterculture of violence.
The custodian, who is being hailed as a hero for stopping the rampage, doesn't want any recognition, according to the sheriff.
Making news around the world, North Korea has fired an unidentified ballistic missile from the Pyongyang area. South Korea said the missile flew over Japan and toward the North Pacific Ocean. This is file video of another launch. The country has fired 21 missiles during 14 tests since February, further perfecting its technology with each launch. Today's comes just hours after North Korea responded to the United Nations Security Council's unanimous approval of additional sanctions by threatening to sink Japan and reduce the U.S. mainland into ash and darkness. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is less than 6 years into his reign and has tested more missiles than his father and grandfather combined.
Back here at home, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is now hiring deputy sheriff trainees. The filing deadline is Friday, January 6th at 5 p.m., and you must apply online. We have that website and other details on the job on our website, KernGoldenEmpire.com. Just click on the hot link icon.
Kern County Animal Services says its Bakersfield shelter is full and it's offering an adoption special for tomorrow. They say all animals ready to go home, their adoptions are just $5. I want to show you some of the animals that are up for adoption. Kern County Animal Services is located at 3951 Fruitvale Avenue in Northwest Bakersfield. Apparently we don't have the animals to show you, but there are lots of them. Yep. They are open tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 4.
All shapes and sizes. A group of local veterans is in our nation's capital tonight for the 29th Honor Flight Kern County. They were ready to go this morning.
Yeah.
55 veterans of the Vietnam War and their guardians left early this morning about 3:30 from Liberty High School. They're headed to LAX. The group arrived in Washington, D.C. this afternoon. Their trip allows veterans to walk the National Mall and see the war memorials built in honor of the years they served our country. You're invited to welcome these veterans back home. That celebration set for 8 p.m. this Saturday, September 16th, Liberty High School on Chihuahua Avenue.
Hurricane Irma delivering a serious punch to Florida's major moneymakers, crops.
Fruit growers and farmers have only just begun assessing the damage and are already asking help from lawmakers. We have details ahead in tonight's 17 Business Watch.
Meanwhile, Hurricane Jose now taking a turn possibly toward the United States. We'll have that and your travel forecast next.
If you haven't eaten dinner yet, don't. You have a chance tonight to get a taste of what local restaurants have to offer at the 5th Annual Taste of Downtown. You'll be able to sample food and beverages from local restaurants. There will also be live music and a Best Martini competition, which 17's Maddie Jansen and Jason Galvin will be judging. How'd they get that assignment?
I don't know, but they got to get up to work early
Yeah, and
tomorrow.
I have to do the 11 tonight, so it's free admission and $1 per tasting ticket. Tastes can range from $1 to $10. It's happening between Wall Street and I Street from 6 p.m. until 9. Yeah, they might be a little tired tomorrow.
Yeah, it might be.
A little headache.
I'm working Sunrise tomorrow. Now I'm really excited about it.
You're working Sunrise?
You're working
Phyllis is working Sunrise tomorrow?
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So you're going to be giving them a hard time tomorrow.
Yeah.
No loud noises during the Sunrise show, okay?
They may have a headache.
I'm going to go unplug the coffee maker.
There you go.
All right, let's go to the Pinpoint Weather Center and check out a tasty forecast.
Yes, looking here at nice weather for that tonight. Gosh, what a gorgeous night they have for that event. Meanwhile, what's left of Irma continues here to make its way into New England tonight. So this is it. That's left. That's what's left of Irma, I should say. Meanwhile, Hurricane Jose is still out there. Still not seeing much of an eye feature out of it, but it is a Category 1 storm, and it's expected now to continue. Well, actually, it's a tropical storm. Looks like it just was demoted there and downgraded, I should say. And then it's going to regain strength to a Cat 1 hurricane right off the coast here of North Carolina as we head into the weekend and into Monday. So looking now at, yes, Tropical Storm Jose at 70-mile-per-hour winds and winds out of the west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. So we're going to have to watch this carefully as we head into the weekend and next week, as it could skirt the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and then obviously looking here at the Baltimore area, Washington, D.C., possibly seeing some rain from Jose that is out there. Elsewhere, looking here for quiet conditions in the midsection of the country. As we head into the upper plain states, looking wet over the Four Corners. Showers working there into Colorado tonight, New Mexico. But we are quiet, finally, as we head into California. And we're continuing to watch one stray cell that is just across the county line, or the state line, I should say, as we head into Nevada. So there was some thunderstorm activity there with this particular cell about 20 minutes ago. That's it. We're looking quiet, and temperatures are noticeably cooler today. 80s as we make our way from Fresno over to Bakersfield. 71 in LA, 74 in San Diego, 89 degrees in Vegas, and continuing to look for temperatures about 8 degrees cooler here as compared to yesterday, but everyone really cooling down into the upper levels of the atmosphere. We're watching as a trough is working on through, and that's bringing in that cooler air. 83 degrees, our humidity value at 39%. The dew point's at 56. Winds are light out of the northwest at 9. And as we take a look at that finally Friday travel forecast, 85 into Stockton, 87 in Sacramento. Over to San Francisco, 71 degrees. 66 in Monterey, 84 in Fresno, 82 in Paso Robles. Looking then at 74 in San Luis Obispo, 71 in Santa Maria. Looking then at 75 for Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, 76 degrees, 75 in Long Beach, 72 in San Diego. Now, there is a little bit of drizzle possible as we head along the coastline. Pismo, we'll see clouds out of that, 72, but we'll see some patchy drizzle in the morning hours in Santa Monica, 71 degrees there. How about air quality? Looking good at 47. Pinpoint forecast then calls for temperatures to be around 89 by Saturday, 90 on Sunday, 70s next week for the start of the Kern County Fair. Tuesday, 79, Wednesday, 78. Overnight lows will be in the 60s. Into the mountains, 70s on the way, 78 degrees on Sunday, upper 60s Tuesday and Wednesday. Lows will be into the 40s and into the Kern River Valley. Temperatures here will be in the mid-80s for the weekend, 70s by Tuesday. And the weather snapshot takes us to Idaho tonight and Lake Pend Oreille in Sandpoint, Idaho. Hal Jackson showing us the view there.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Known for a lot of rec activities, outdoors, skiing, obviously, on the water.
Good fishing.
Yep, and he said he went fishing.
Yeah, good for him.
Thank you, Hal.
Good therapy.
Snapshots at KernGoldEmpire.com, and there is the address on your screen.
Can I just say that that does not look like a fair forecast, and for that I'm thankful.
No,
it does not look like forecasts in the past. Not 100
How
degrees.
long has it been since you said overnight lows of 40s in the mountains?
I know.
She's all choked up.
Yeah.
I understand.
All right. I'll let you go get some water.
Closing numbers from the trading day on Wall Street just ahead.
But first, Nick standing by to Free News Sports.
Thank you, Tammy. Well, how do the Condors and the Oilers coexist? It's actually pretty cool how it all plays out. I'll explain after the break. And NFL, not the only game tonight being played. The Liberty Patriots playing who and where? Sports is up next. Welcome back to sports. Hope everyone had a terrific Thursday afternoon. Well, the Condors and the Oilers coexist with each other quite nicely this time of year, with the season set to start for both of the teams. Oilers training camp, their roster was due today, and 61 of those names listed will come right from the team here in Bakersfield. 23 to 25 players. Also, of the 61 names, 25 of those have already played for the Condors in the past 2 years. The Condors open training camp next Monday, September 21st. Get your popcorn ready. Over to high school football, the Liberty Patriots are on the road to face a Buchanan team that is 3-0 and been blowing squads out. Patriots are 1-1 and will play tonight at 7 o'clock. They will play at Ridgeview next Friday night. Liberty is led by quarterback Isaiah Hill. The Patriots are trying to avoid a 1-2 start to begin the season. BHS Drillers are trying to get back on track tomorrow night against a very good Westfield Chaminade team for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Drillers suffered a pounding in the heat in Mission Viejo against an Orem team from Utah. The final was 63 to 28. BHS now 1-1 on the season and are well rested for tomorrow night. More on accountability and getting refocused this week.
It's easy just to say, oh, we're here, we've arrived, and I'm talking me and kids and everybody, and it's a deal where athletics, man, it exposes you in a hurry, and it's the same with life. If you're not hustling and you're not working your tail off to get better, someone's going to pass you by.
BHS will play at Valencia next Friday night. That's the 22nd. Then open up the new look at Griffith Field on September 29th. 2 weeks from tomorrow night, they will host the Ridgeview Wolfpack. Well, NBC Sunday Night Football features the Packers and the Falcons. They last met in last year's NFC Championship game, which was won by the Falcons. The Football Night in America team has the preview.
Welcome to the set. Football Night in America. Dan Patrick, Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison, Green Bay, Atlanta, both teams coming off victories. Where do you want to start?
Well, we know both teams have explosive offenses, great quarterbacking, Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers, but last week we saw great defense from Green Bay, kind of just average defense from Atlanta.
The one thing I would like to see, I know Atlanta has a new offensive coordinator, but Devontae Freeman, he's your guy. He needs to carry the ball more than 12 times. That's just unacceptable.
And they're going to have to run him to slow down that Green Bay front. They got after Russell Wilson. If they just try to drop back and throw, they're going to get after him.
I tell you this, Green Bay better come and play because the emotion with the new stadium, the speed, the team speed on that turf, it should be fun to watch.
So Green Bay at Atlanta Sunday night on NBC.
There you go. That game will be on right there on Sunday night, and then right now being played right now, Texans and the Bengals, and I'll have those. I'll have the score in that at night in about 30 minutes when we come back in sports at 6:20.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome, Tim.
Retailers already gearing up for the holiday season.
You're not happy about it, huh? Target.
No. We're doing holiday stories already.
Yeah, I know.
It's the 14th of September.
I know. Target is putting out the call for more workers for the season. We'll have important details if you're looking to snag a job in your 17 business park.
I like that. Welcome back. 17 Business Watch tonight. Stocks on Wall Street mixed at the end of the trading day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 45 points today to close at 22,203. The Nasdaq dropped 31 points. The S&P 500 down by a point in trading today. Oil prices now. West Texas Intermediate benchmark crude falling 16 cents today to close at $49.73 a barrel. Local blend Midway Sunset adding 84 cents, and again eclipsing the price for a barrel of WTI. $51.05 the closing price for Midway Sunset crude today. Target is in quite the hiring mood just ahead of the holiday season. The retail giant says it plans to hire 100,000 temporary workers for the holidays. That's up from the more than 77,000 temps brought into work for the 2016 holiday season. Current Target workers may also see their hours increase during the holiday season. Prospective hires can apply for jobs online, as well as attend recruiting events at any of Target's 1,800 stores from October 13th through October 15th. Hurricane Irma destroyed more than just structures in Florida. It also pounded one of the state's major money makers. That would be citrus. Farmers there say the storm crippled crops and some outside help is needed for the recovery process. Melissa Marino has more.
We're looking at approximately 30 to 40% crop loss in this block, and this is on the lower end of the spectrum. Right.
Hurricane Irma's winds ripping the fruit from their trees, including here at Story Grove in Lake Wales.
To come out and see this after we had rebounded and had a great crop, had a good year of weather, it's disheartening.
In South Florida, the situation is even worse. Trees and fruits are sitting in water, destroyed.
No doubt we've lost 70, 75, in some cases 100% of next year's crop.
The devastation left behind after Irma has Florida's $8 billion a year industry begging for help.
We don't pride ourselves on asking for assistance, but when it's absolutely necessary, like in this situation, we're going to have to do that.
With so much going on, there's not been a lot of attention yet paid to it, obviously because of the scale and scope of the storm. But people forget agriculture is one of our cornerstone industries.
State Senators Bill Nelson and Marco Rubio stopping in Lake Wales to assess the damage. They're already pushing a bill for tax relief. This could give them the momentum they need.
It affects each and every grower of all sizes. It affects their employees, it affects their vendors, it affects their contractors, and we're going to do everything we can in order to ensure that those jobs stay intact.
Wow. That was Melissa Marino reporting. The Florida Department of Citrus, by the way, says that a number of factors, not just Irma, have been behind an increase for orange crops. It says the price for non-concentrate orange juice has increased nearly $6 per unit over the past 15 years. Tammy?
All right, Jim, thanks. Stay with us as our coverage continues ahead at 6 in the Love Triangle murder trial. The prosecution's star witness taking a stand today. We have more of Jonathan Hearn's testimony, which we remind you we are also covering extensively on our website, HearnGoldenEmpire.com.